Hey kids, it's Jurassic James. I'm with Jurassic Swings. We're looking at a review of Jurassic World Rebirth. So I wanted to wait a month or roughly a month for the review because I want to do a spoiler review, obviously. And if you're wondering, I'm going to mention a couple of things here. I have not received or got the Titanosaur figure or the new Spinosaurus model because I just haven't so far been very busy. Plus, my anniversary is coming up on September 17th, and my wife has been hinting at possibilities. So you'll see those reviews more in that video. So the first thing I'll point out with the Jurassic World Rebirth is because people have been asking me, what do you think about this movie, And the first thing I'll say is, great. What I mean by that is the idea of having another Jurassic World movie is not a terrible thing. Now, I'm incredibly biased because two things. One, they're putting dinosaurs back in the media, back in the zeitgeist, so I'm pro that. And then two, new toys. But the idea here is, for the movie, like I said, I don't hate it or anything. A lot of people have strong opinions. They really, really hate it, really love it, and all that. I don't have any hate or anger anyway, but it was a pretty cool movie. The only thing I would say, just in big picture, is that I personally am way more fond of, I say, actual dinosaurs. The dinosaurs of Jurassic World are, like Dr. Henry Wu said in the last one, he was like, we made what you wanted to make, right? That's the retcon. But at least they're based on real species. The idea that the franchise is moving more towards these mutations, I personally am not fond of that, only because in my head there's like thousands of like real critters that once lived that most people don't know about, and I would love for those critters to be in a movie so people go, oh, this thing is real, and I can reference it like in a lecture, I know from my research is that the writer, or the writer director, I can't remember who did it, but they were saying that after the last Jurassic World Dominion, how the idea of dinosaurs as being in your world, how do you write that? And like I said, I enjoy dinosaurs being away from people. That's like a cool thing for me. It's like a whole thing for me. But the idea of like, I don't know what to do with that. That's like kind of not easy, but if you ever want to know more, look up Battle of, is it Bighorn? No, Big Rock. It's a Jurassic World like mini thing they made where there's like a campsite and an Allosaurus and a Triceratops come to the campsite. So it's like people out camping somewhere in America, and this little scene happens, and that's cool. I mean, the idea of putting, as a kid, in the 1990s, the idea of dinosaurs being off on an island was kind of the continuation of like the old Lost World and the King Kong movies like that, right? So the idea of dinosaurs being in your world, I'm not like in love with that at first, but like if you're gonna make that step, just do it right? And the idea of like the D-Rex, the other things, and I can't remember what they're called, but those kind of critters is like, a day after I saw the movie, at work the next day, a kid's like, I love the D-Rex, and I'm like, okay, it's not a real thing. Like, there's so many real things we could talk about instead, and so that's kind of my position on that. And so I'm not gonna besmirch the movie. I'm just like, please don't make more mutants. That's like waste of plastic. Like, I'd rather see actual dinosaur critters being made. Please don't do that. That's just a personal plea for me for the anyway. So I guess was it one by air, one by sea, and all that. So I will start with this Spinosaurus. I have the Jurassic World, Mattel. If you don't know this, Mattel. So when Jurassic World, the 2015 came out, the original one, Chris Pratt, they had, I think, Hasbro make the toys, and I have a couple of them, but they were like not that great. And so Mattel has come out, and essentially most of what I've been doing now is reviewing the Mattel figures because they have been coming out with dinosaurs that are in the movies, but also just random dinosaurs, random species, and it's kind of helped fuel this channel actually in a lot of ways. And so I like the idea of species. If you're wondering why I'm looking over there, there's a pile of things that I'm gonna be going through soon, birthdays and all that, So my wife, she likes to buy me dinosaur toys, so I'm married. No, love to, but also the idea here is that they've just been making all these unusual species. Some of them I'm like, why'd you make that? They only have like one bone of that. But some of them are like, oh, that's cool that you're getting attention to this animal that doesn't normally get attention or people don't know it's around. So it's kind of a cool thing to point out there. But anyway, so starting with the Spinosaurus, I will again officially get the official scissors of Jurassic James. And this is a birthday present. Let's see. the foot clamped down. Give me a second. So there's the two straps here you cut, and then the feet are attached to something in the bottom, which is always hard to get a hold of. Let's see. Well, forgive me, audio gods. There's little clamps that connect it to the... Oh, that was just one. But yet still connected. Oh, there's more. Oh my goodness, it's like they don't want me to steal this thing or something. Let's see. I'd love to see someone try to steal this from like Target, you know, just walking out with like a toy that large. And so the first one, there it goes. So what I like about this is, I told you, I'm sure I did a Spinosaurus video in the past. Dr. Ibram Nazer, this looks more like what he's talking about. So what's really fun about this, I'm going to just recap, because if you haven't seen the video, Spinosaurus was first recognized in German scientist named Ernst Stromer went to North Africa and found Spinosaurus what he called Spinosaurus aegypticus from Egypt, and he found like neural spines, he found of course lots of teeth, other bones, and so back before photography was big, he did take pictures, but he took a lot of drawings, and it was enough of the animal to know it was different. It wasn't a T-Rex per se, but it was a large predator, and so unfortunately, like the idea was that he knew it was a big predator, but because like T-Rex and Allosaurus were known, that's kind of the design you think of a theropod. He didn't understand it was going to be like, it has a very narrow, thin snout, and you know what we now know is a more fish or aquatic lifestyle. Not aquatic as in they're living in water; they're just more amphibious is a word. Not amphibian like frog or salamander, but living in and out of water kind of thing. And so the idea here is he had a skeleton. World War II breaks out. Unfortunately, or fortunately for history, or unfortunately, Stromer was an outspoken critic of Hitler, but he was such a big noble that I think like the Nazis couldn't really touch him, but they did send his sons to like the front lines to die. And so when the Allies began to bomb Berlin, they were trying to move the things from the museum into the basement, and supposedly the museum director head was a Nazi sympathizer, and so he didn't let Stromer move stuff in the basement. So Spinosaurus was destroyed in World War II, an unlikely casualty if you think of it that way. And for decades, it was just teeth here or there, fragments here or there. There's a documentary called Bigger Than T-Rex. I think it's a PBS documentary. And Dr. Ibram Nazer, who I met in 2020, went to Morocco, found with a dealer and other things in a hillside more Spinosaurus bones. So we go from getting this to this. Now, the one thing to point out is that Spinosaurus, again, the Jurassic World one, Jurassic Park 3, 2001, its nose or snout is too broad. Spinosaurus' snout is like that wide. The bones are like that wide. So it's not a very, like T-Rex is a big, like, pit bully kind of crushing bite. This guy, it's just for dipping your head nose in water looking for fish, right? And so this is the long-legged Spinosaurus. And this is one of the things that I mentioned in talks before, how science, you don't marry your ideas, you only date them. And what I mean by that in science is that when you can believe something to your umpteenth, it's just in your body, in your mind, your soul. But if you find evidence that goes against that, you have to abandon an idea. And that is something that is very hard for the human brain to do. That's why very few scientists went for politics, because in politics, you have to stick to your thing and stick to your guns. But in science, like, I remember reading about this short-legged Spinosaurus and being very upset. I mean, it was actually very human of me. But the idea of like, oh, this is a different view of something I've known for a long time. That's a really uncomfortable feeling for people. And I understand why people don't want to change their mind or adapt to a new idea. I get it. I mean, I don't support it, but I get it. And so for me, Spinosaurus, you know, we see this Jurassic World animal, it's this large predator, it fits in the mold of other theropods, but then you look at it and go, well, no, he's finding legs and features that are suggesting a different body form, then that's what's going on. Now, and so this idea has kind of been pushed to the wayside, and so we get more of this. Now, one thing to point out is that in the movie, there's 3 Spinosaurus, and they are working together with a mosasaur. And so many people have already asked me, what's up with that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? We're at a random gas station. And they go, okay, no, the idea is that I mentioned that the idea of animals working together, of different species, is not something that's unheard of. I mean, I'm taking many classes on animal behavior and all that in college. But to attribute that to Spinosaurus, Mosasaurus, that is speculation. So just put that to bed. No one has published that idea. That is not an idea that's being talked about it in paleontology community. That's just mean that was just thrown in a movie, right? And even then, the idea of Spinosaurus being like out to sea, living in a, there's just like the Nile running up north to south, or running south to north in Egypt. The idea is that there was a giant river running perpendicular to that, running from like Morocco to a Paleo River. So it's a river from the past that ran across what we now call Sahara Desert back when it was green about 100 million years ago. And so Spinosaurus, I mean, I'd like you to think of North Africa back then like Florida, in that there's a lot of crocodilians, there's a lot of mangrovey kind of swampy area. It's water meeting ocean, water meeting land kind of thing. And so Spinosaurus would have lived in that environment. And so one thing to point out too with the narrow spines, the bumps on the back, that here you have the kind of generic that kind of sail, like almost Dimetrodon-esque, but not really. And here you have this kind of like hump, like sail, and that's something that we do believe now based on the recent discovery by Dr. Dazer. If I remember correctly, you pushed the button. Cool. I don't know if mine's batteries are low or it's just how it moves, but the point is, 2020, what happened basically was Dr. Abraham Neeser went to the Jones Hall downtown Houston. My friend Jim Michelle Connor, that's the very same Jim who was always buying me cool stuff. They bought tickets for it. They couldn't go for some reason, so they gave tickets to my wife and myself, and I was like, yes. And so I went there, and after the lecture, I remember someone had asked, one of my friends, the lab manager, lab tech at HMNS, had asked him if he was going to visit the Houston Museum. He goes, I'll try it out. Next morning I had a class, so I told my staff with like a wanted poster, like, if you see this man, give him all his passes and find me. And I'm like, sir, what if you're in class? Come in anyway and tell me he's here. So I got to talk to him, take pictures with him, and he had discovered in the first part of the documentary, like the front of the animal, and he kept hinting at there's things that he couldn't tell me, because in any science, you don't want to reveal your research until it's published, right? Because someone can steal your idea or post it or whatever now. And so he actually went back and found like the other part, like the tail end of the animal, which is why the tail had these tall spines here like this. So a lot of research now, about whether Spinosaurus could swim or not. I know, like, I think that Dr. Abraham is on one side. I think Paul Sereno kind of lead on the other side saying no. They're looking at cross sections of the fossil, how the animal will be built, how it will move, using water models to see how it swims. It's just really cool stuff. And so the main thing is, for you, reviewer, Spinosaurus, the way it looks is more realistic in this Jurassic World Rebirth than it looks like in Jurassic Park 3. So that's the main thing, that when you draw Spinosaurus, draw something like this, but I would only suggest making the face a lot slimmer. That should be way more than, where's the nostril? Very good. It's right here. It's up here. So that's good. So the nostrils are not like right here. So most all dinosaurs I talk about, the nostrils, the nose holes up, well, for predators here, but other ones would be higher up. But the skin would have covered it to the front. So think of Dr. what's his name? Ohio, Larry Whitmer, Lawrence Whitmer. So Whitmer Labs, very good place to follow on social media. And he was saying how the nostrils would be at the very tip. But with Spinosaurus, they may have actually been further up because they were rooting around in the water for fishing things. The hands are, of course, facing palm to palm, which this one shows that too, which is really good. But, and of course, same old, 3 toes going forward, the little dew claw to the side, 3 here. There would be, the only suggestion would be maybe the first claw, maybe a little bit bigger, because their cousins, like the baryonyx and Comimus, they had that larger first digit. But overall, this is a more accurate model compared to this guy here. Next we have, let's see, the Quetzalcoatlus. Not again, spoiler review. So they essentially had to find DNA from the 3 largest things. So the Titanosaur, which will be a different review later on when I get one. The Mosasaur, the Titanosaur on land, Mosasaur on the water, the Quetzalcoatlus in the air. So here's the Quetzalcoatlus, and let's see. Once again, I'm going to employ the official scissors, Jurassic James. And let's see. To quote Optimus Prime, please let this work. Oh, it did. Good. What do we have here? Okay, so there's a button here on the back. Okay. So you push this one. I was screaming. I don't know what That should do something. It says it should be flapping. Fun. Okay, let's see. Now, so here's how science-brained I am. That when I see the trailer and they have the Quetzalcoatlus and they have this little kind of hook thing on the beak, my first thought was, I'm sorry, is there something they discovered recently that I didn't know about? That they, because I don't know who was the advisor in this movie. I should have looked it up before I posted this, but they usually have a paleontologist person they're talking to when they're designing this stuff, right? Initially it was Jack Horner, Dr. Blocker, and And so my first thought was, did they find more Quetzalcoatlus that I did not know about to have this kind of bill? And the answer is no, they didn't. So that's just movie magic, interpretation, etc. The reason it is less likely is that we have pterosaurs with all kind of bill, beak features, mostly in bone. Anything in skin would not preserve, but if it's in the beak right here, it would be preserved. So that's something to note. First, I want to point out the hands or forelimbs that you have. Pterosaurs only have 4 fingers. They have the 3 that you're seeing there, and this thing here is the 4th finger. Excuse me. And so the one thing I will say that I don't like, they do it over and over again in all of them. Actually, this one does. Okay, so this one does it better. Is that you see how it's a finger, like the hand. There's 3 here, and there's a finger. It just goes on like that. Versus how people often draw these things, where the hand comes out separate, and the finger's like way over here, disjointed. No, it should be literally a hand. So it's just that the ring finger is very long. So there's the 3, first, second, third digit, and that one goes off like that. Instead of this kind of like separate hand and then other bit coming out of essentially that's like the ring finger coming from here, basically. That's what you're seeing here. I do like this cloth material. It makes it light. It gets like, I'm pretty sure if mine would flap properly. Am I not doing this correct? Oh, I see. That's good. Oh, it does that too. Okay, I love the noises right now. And so let me put pretty sure I'm doing all this wrong, but the point is, okay, knocks it open, and when it closes the wing, that's beautiful. Okay, new one for the win, rebirth for the win. So I love this. Okay, now it makes more sense. Okay, got it. So you're like, what's going on, James? Why is your brain exploding? So the idea here is pterosaurs, the other white meat. No, that's a joke from the 1990s, children. Pterosaurs. Oh, this is cool. I like this. Okay, the beak is forgiven enough. So what's going on here is when they were walking on the ground, this is how they walk. They tucked the ring finger back like this, kind of like a bat in some ways. Oh, so you don't know. So you know. Flight evolved 4 major times in Earth's history as far as powered flight of terrestrial things. First are insects, bugs. They fly, of course. They keep their 6 limbs, and they add extra wings in the back, right? As far as vertebrates go, the first flyers were pterosaurs, which I mentioned before. They have 5 digits. They lost the pinky. The ring finger became the actual flight thing. For birds, they have like this. They have these 3 like kind of raptorian fingers, but then they have feathers, extra keratin feathers. And then bats have all 5 digits because mammals kept all 5 throughout the Cenozoic, through the Mesozoic into the Cenozoic. And then they just grew long fingers and have skin, like the webbing you have here. Bats just have that here in the center. So in a lot of ways, pterosaurs move more like bats. And that where a bird has these little nubs, or what's left of them, go to KFC, Popeyes, Churches, whatever your brand is. Look at the wing, and they kind of tuck it to the side of all the feathers. These guys put their hand on the ground, and it bends back like that. So that's really cool. I think there's a theory or hypothesis at least that the Quetzalcoatlus, the group there belongs is as Darkids, that these guys are so heavy they couldn't fly. By only a few, I think like one person believes that. Most people are like, yeah, you can fly. They have hollow bones, but the idea they're arguing is that the pterosaurs got so big that they didn't need to fly anymore, kind of thing. But no, most paleontologists say, no, they can fly. The pterosaurs are built to fly. Their heads are gigantic. Their hollow bones are kind of light for their size. But anyway, the idea of it standing like this is really cool. And so I like that the toy actually does that. Not all is forgiven. So that is really cool. So I was like, why is it doing it? I thought it was like a flapping feature. Like, no, that's how it lands. That's how it stands its ground. That's awesome. Okay. Again, that. Oh wait, I'm pretty sure I'm missing something in the instructions here. Am I missing something? Am I pushing? Oh, that's like a Batman thing. Okay, but the head, that's just independent. Also, it's a neutral. Zeus is mad. Not sure if you can hear the thunder. But the idea, it's been raining a lot in Houston. So the idea here is, you turn it up? Nope, I don't know. So that's, anyway, I like that a lot. This is really cool. I might want to get another one of these, or two of these for, I have like 3 of them sitting together, like just hanging out, being terrifying. Okay, that's very cool. Anyway, so yeah, so again, with the movie, just wrapping up the point of this whole thing. No? You're just going to sit there, just do your thing. So, like I said, it's a fun romp. I like the T-Rex going into the water. That's the scene. If you don't know, it's a scene from the original Jurassic Park book that was never put in the other movies. Except for the 2 mutants, all the dinosaurs you see in the movie are real something. They've just been altered for whatever reason because Jurassic World. But the idea is that I can't remember the Mutu, whatever, the ones that was like the Raptor-esque ones that were chasing them in the kitchen area. My only suggestion there was there's a scene where the boyfriend, I can't remember his name, he is snuck from camp to go pee, and 2 velociraptors are behind him, and they're about to attack him. And then this mutant attacks one velociraptor, the other runs away, and it kills it and carries it away, right? And the whole point of that scene is to establish this as a more dangerous dinosaur, critter, really. And the idea behind that is that any movie, when you have a new big bad guy, you want to show how bad they are, you have them beat up the other powerful person. So, for example, in the Infinity War, Thanos is, Hulk attacks him, and Thanos handily beats up Hulk without even an effort on his part. And like his minions, like, yeah, he's having fun while he's beating him up. Like, that's showing you, the Hulk is really powerful. This guy can just knock him out pretty easily, right? Or the idea that in the comic books, Wolverine is like a pretty tough guy, and throughout like the 90s, he, whenever there's a new bad guy, they beat up Wolverine. That's a way of showing this is a new thing. So my suggestion, or retroactive suggestion, would be instead of having this mutant, why not just have a Utahraptor, right? And so in a couple weeks, I'm going to be posting a video on Utahraptor. I have a new toy. Jurassic World finally made one. And so, like, Utahraptor is the largest dromaeosaur. It's the largest of the raptors, right? And so the idea of just, that's how you, because if you don't know the story, I'll tell you it again in that video, but Velociraptor was discovered in the 1920s. Nobody knows Velociraptor. The Anaconda was discovered in the 1960s in Montana. And that is, like, one of the largest dromaeosaurs known. And then Utahraptor is named in 1993, so it missed the movie. Like, Jurassic Park came out the same year. And so there's this larger raptor that's just been in the pop culture that people know exists, but it's not as popular as Velociraptor, who's this puny little twerp. And so the idea here is they could have introduced Utahraptor in this movie, like at that point. And they still did the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park 1, but just with Utahraptors. And you could give them feathers, because these things had wings. I mean, they couldn't fly, the Utahraptors, but the idea, I keep looking because there's a toy of Utahraptor right there. So the idea here is that that would have been a perfect way of adding a new dinosaur, a real dinosaur that was about that size, that could take out Velociraptor if it needed to. Like, that was right there. And they instead made a mutant. A toy in which I am not going to buy because I don't want to support the mutant agenda. So that's something that I just found to point out. The D-Rex thing, like I said, I mean, I don't want to make it the giant Gorgon or something like that, but just, I just really hope they don't lean into the mutation thing, because there are so many cool critters that are in the fossil record. I focus mostly on dinosaurs here, because most of the toys are those things, but every so often I drift into the Permian or Jurassic or a different thing, and a couple of mammals. I want to show you there's different kind of things that once lived, and they're just making up monsters that are taking up plastic and taking them out, shelf, aisle. I'm, again, very biased about the toys being a certain way, but taking up space on the shelf, that's really annoying to me. Anyway, so technically I will be continually to review this movie through other videos. If I'm getting the Titanosaur, I'm going to mention stuff with it. Titanosaurus is a weird situation. Can't wait to get that in a month or so. The name of that genus and how it bounced around a lot and all that. But anyway, so that's my view on the movie, I think. I'm trying to think, there was like, they showed Compies, they showed Dilophosaurus the Frail again. Oh, oh, that was upsetting. The Parasaurolophus. The same, again, spoiler review. When they were getting, the little girl was getting, the teenager was getting the raft, and there was a dead Parasaurolophus, and his hands looked like my hands. I was like, what? No. Duckbills, hadrosaurs do not have pinkies. Second, they have three, and they're kind of like a hoof, like a midden of skin. And oh wait, they don't have thumbs. Sorry, hadrosaurs. They don't have thumbs. They have a pinky on the side, but the hand looks like just three large claws. And I was like, that's not a hadrosaur. I don't know why that was so upsetting to me. I was like, why? And so yeah, the duckbill, they show a dead Parasaurolophus, and the hands are just wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know why they made me sad. I'm still getting mad. I can feel my temperature rising in anger. It's really exciting. But other than that, I'm trying to think. There's like, they showed an Ankylosaurus for half a second. That's pretty. Yeah. For your dinosaur movie, not really dinosaurs. The Mosasaur was way too big, which has been actually it's the same Mosasaur from Jurassic World, but it was like bluish with yellow, like the toy's blue with yellow belly. I haven't done a Mosasaur video. I just realized that. I will address that more in that video, but the one, I have the toy right there. Blue belly, black, red, white belly, blue back. The new one's like green with stripes. It's the same animal, apparently. Like the same individual animal. It was way too big. Mosasaurs are no more than 55 feet long, which is still big, but not like, they're like whale big in the movie, right? Baleen whale big. Also, I'm going to point out, I find it interesting the Mosasaur attacked the family's boat, and then when these hunter people were chasing it with a larger, more powerful boat, it didn't flip it over or anything. That was kind of weird. I know for the plot, I get that, but it was just like, okay, cool. I think that was it, dinosaur-wise. Movie was alright, like I said, super excited. But I just wish they had more dinosaurs I wish they had more dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie. Okay. And so, closing statement. Primitive Wars. There's some movie coming out in like 2 weeks or so about people going to like Vietnam or something and fighting dinosaurs. And there's a book about it. I just found this out recently, so we're going to see what's all that about at some point, and I'm going to post about it. That being said, I will close this video out because I've talked way too long. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.